Here's why Iran is nearly impossible to invade. Firstly, its geography. Iran is huge, roughly 7 times the size of the United Kingdom, and it's surrounded by natural defences. In the west, you have the towering Zagros Mountains, and in the south, rugged coastlines. Between them, these two massive deserts form a huge no-go zone for any invading force. Add to that Iran's strategic control of the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil flows through, and it becomes nearly untouchable. Second, Iran has an insane amount of oil. In most invasions, countries run out of energy fast. But Iran sits on the 4th largest oil reserve in the world, so even if it was cut off from supplies, it could fuel itself for over 200 years. Third are its people. Iran is home to over 80 million deeply patriotic citizens, which history shows are not afraid to defend their country. And finally are its stores of uranium. While these aren't as big as other countries, they're still enough to fuel its nuclear program and give it plenty of enriched uranium for you-know-what.
That's the unfortunate truth about Iran. Iran is actually a powerhouse in the Middle East because they're the agricultural fruit basket of the Middle East. I lived in Abu Dhabi, I lived in UAE. Every export that was fresh food came from Iran. Iran is technically an enemy of the UAE, and an enemy of the United States, right? An enemy of Saudi Arabia, an enemy of Oman, an enemy of you name it.
They're feeding all.
But they're feeding everybody. So nobody can really cut themselves off from Iran. So that means Iran will always have cash flow. Iran will always have trade power. They'll always have negotiating leverage. So they're not going to have any kind of major regime change anytime soon, unless basically another Ukraine happens, where some completely low probability event occurs and everything falls in that same direction, right?
Iran now has a full map of Israel's missile defense system banks. It gained incredible intelligence. Not only that, it also got to see which countries would jump in to defend Israel. And the list was short. It was the US, the UK, and France, all nuclear states, and then Jordan, because these guys needed an Arab or Muslim fig leaf. Iran had warned prior to the strikes and the days leading up to it, all its neighbors, do not participate in this. We will consider you a target. And they obliged Iran. It was just Jordan. The intel that Iran gained from this, it's a huge strategic cost to Israel. They used the arrows, the THAAD systems, David Sling, the Iron Dome, I mean, everything. Iran can now calculate which fighter jets will take off from Cyprus, which will take off from Jordan, which will any take off from Turkey, will any take off from the Gulf. Iran understands this now, and it's going to be harder for these players to participate with Israel in a future strike. Importantly, Iran did this alone, absolutely alone. Israel could not do this alone. It needed 3 nuclear powers plus the Arab fig leaf to do this. The defense cost for Israel was $1.4 billion. Iran spent about 2.5% of that night. So Iran could conceivably do this for days and weeks, if not months.
I do not think people fully understand how dangerous this Iran-Israel war really is. Because the likelihood of America, us, getting involved in this war is growing every single day. And at this point, we don't even have to involve ourselves. We could just find ourselves in the middle of it. Not to mention, we would be on Israel's side. And as of this moment, we're not even involved in the war, and Trump's tweeting how easy Iran's leader is to target. There are tons and tons and tons of possibilities on how America could end up in this war, but the scary part isn't how, but what happens if. Now let me walk you through why this is so scary. Let's start off with the bare minimum. We as Americans are not financially ready for a war, whether accidentally or purposefully. We can hardly pay for eggs and gas, and we're expected to fund a war. And this wouldn't just be over the span of a few months, this would last years. This is not Afghanistan or Iraq, this is Iran. Their military is so much more powerful than theirs, and we are not going to get in and out of there easily. And this war will not only cost a lot of money, but it will cost American lives. Because where there's war, there is death. And if somehow America does get involved in this war, it is still an ally to Israel. So Iran's allies will get involved too. And this is where things start to spiral. Russia and China have already warned the US not to strike against Iran. So if the US does, then Russia and China get involved. And you know what that means. World War III, bitch. And this does not look good for anybody. Because when tensions start to grow, you could be drafted. And I'm not just talking to the men. What we have on our hands is not just a little war between Iran and Israel. It is the whole balance of the globe teetering. This could very well be the start to World War III, or a very big change in society. And if for some reason it's still not clicking, let me put it into perspective for you. The last time we've had tensions this bad was the Cuban Missile Crisis, and we had JFK to resolve that for us. Now, look who we have.
This is beautiful, people. So the French government just released a statement saying that the French analysts are predicting that Iran must have had an outside help. Hold on, I'm going to tell you why. So when Israel attacked Iran air base. So they destroyed the Iranian air defense system. For that air defense system to come back up and running, it must take more than 48 hours. And the French analysts are gobsmacked that they're thinking, how is it possible that within 48 hours, this defense system is back up and running on full throttle? They must have had outside help. Guess who they're thinking must have helped Iran? Pakistan. Because what Pakistan did to India. Pakistan destroyed India's defense system. And Pakistan knows how to fix Iran's defense system. Why? Because Pakistan will always back Iran.
The free people of the world and the vast majority of countries on this planet all support Iran right now. But these are the 6 countries who are doing the most to support Iran in their struggle for self-defense and sovereignty. First up, we got China. China has a long-standing economic and cultural relationship with the Islamic Republic of Iran. Right now, they are helping them in a big way to defend their own airspace, okay? China has sent not 1, not 2, but at least 3 giant cargo planes filled with missiles and likely air defense systems to Iran and who knows what else, amidst the past few days of Israeli bombardments on their soil, okay? Russia has also been accused of doing the same. Of course, Russia has a very unique and very important security pact with the Islamic Republic of Iran, so it is not too surprising that they are doing this. Pakistan has also been called out as supporting Iran militarily in a defensive posture, okay? And of course, diplomatically, they have probably provided more support for Iran over the past week than anyone else, okay? Now, here are 3 other countries that I think are providing a very unique role in their defense and support for Iran against Israel. First up, we have Yemen, who has been launching coordinated hypersonic strikes on Israel in tandem with Iran. Second up, we've got Finland, who hasn't done really anything, but makes the list because they are the only EU country who came out and condemned Israel's attacks on Iran. So I'll give them credit there. And last, but definitely not least, although this is rumored, of course, North Korea has never recognized the state of Israel. They are a very strong supporter of Iran, of Russia, of China, of these anti-imperialist powers. They are very close with them economically, culturally, ideologically, and also from a security standpoint. And there are rumors now that North Korea is offering Iran a nuclear weapon. If you can believe it, the nuclear technology, whatever resources they need to develop a nuclear bomb. Because we all know the only reason why Israel is able to do what they're doing right now is because Iran does not have a nuclear bomb, okay? Now, whether or not Iran will take them up on this offer, if this offer is real, which I'd imagine it is a whole nother question. And I doubt that they will, because there is a fatwa against nuclear weapons in the Islamic Republic of Iran. But it's an interesting history, because Pakistan is the country who gave North Korea the nuclear weapon, and now North Korea is offering it to Iran.
What should the American people know about what is happening here in Israel?
Well, first of all, right behind me, Trey, this is the reason why we took out that surprise initiative, the preemptive strike against Iran. They've been saying for years, Trey, that this is what they're going to do. They're going to destroy and eliminate the Israeli people. This is with a non-nuclear warhead. This entire building coming down, people trapped beneath the rubble. Can we imagine if Iran was able to have a nuke? There's no army bases here. This is the middle of a neighborhood. There's a kindergarten across the street.
Behind me is the wreckage from a ballistic missile launched by the Iranian regime. What you can see is a civilian apartment building in Bat Yam, or what's left of it, after a ballistic missile directly hit this building. Numerous people were killed, hundreds were injured, and there are now soldiers behind me digging through the rubble to try to find the bodies of hopefully, survivors.
Whose empathy are you trying to appeal to right now? Who do you think is going to look at this with a sympathetic eye after you've spent 2 years justifying violence against unarmed fucking civilians and their infrastructure? For 2 years, we've heard the same justification for targeting civilian infrastructure. They attacked us first. We have a right to defend ourselves. Look in the chronological timeline of events of the last couple of days. A preemptive strike is just an attack, by the way. There's no such thing. You just attacked a different fucking country. You might think you have a good reason, but you attacked them and they responded. Is that not all fair in love and war? Any reasonable person looks at a leveled apartment building and thinks about the civilians, the human beings and children trapped or dead inside, and their heart breaks for them. And my question to you guys now is, why is it that you can't look at the tens of thousands of leveled apartment buildings and the hundreds of thousands of people trapped or buried inside across the street from you and have the same level of fucking human empathy? Why is that? Why do you think that is?